The First Warn Weather Day.
And our First Warn Weather Day coverage continues with an update now. We do want to thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. I'm Brad Stevens.
And I'm Carolyn Long. A blizzard warning remains in effect now for the Kansas City metro and a large chunk of the surrounding area as well. Definitely not the best day for much of anything outside. Not a good day for football to be played in Kansas City. That's for sure. Good thing today's game is being played in Denver. You're looking live here, though, believe it or not, at Arrowhead Stadium. Yeah, it's in there somewhere, but you can't really see much of it with all the snow that's falling right now. We're going to check in with our crews all across the metro area here within the next hour or so.
Yeah, but first we want to get an updated look at our radar, so let's get right to First Warn 5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris.
Yeah, Brad and Carolyn, we're going to get you there in just a sec, but before we get into what's happening now and the rest of the day with the snow, I want us looking ahead to tomorrow, because a lot of us are trying to get back to our life on Monday, back to work, back to school. We've got a lot of school closures already. I'm just pointing out that Monday's still going to be a problem, and we have a First Warn Weather Day on it because of that. Disruption is still likely tomorrow. Roads are still going to be bad in places. We don't know how bad. It depends on how today plays out and how the crews are able to get going with all of that. And some of us could be without power. Some of us have lost power already, and that may continue as we go through tonight. But the big thing here is just how cold it's going to be. Dangerously cold behind this snowstorm. Wind chills are going to be 15 to 20 degrees below zero, and because of that, this is new information. A cold weather advisory has now been issued for Kansas City and all the counties in this aqua color. That's going to go through 11 o'clock on Monday morning. So just dangerously cold stuff out there as we try to get back to our lives tomorrow. Let's show you that. Here's the wind chills, 7 o'clock in the morning. 15, 16, 17, 20 below possible as we start. And even in the peak heat of the day for tomorrow, it feels below zero, -1, something like that by about 2 o'clock. Now let's get to the radar. We have transitioned to all snow. We are done with the freezing rain. Glad to say that. We've got a good pocket of snow that's coming in over here by Olathe, the southwest side of Kansas City. It's lighter to our east. This is a little bit of dry air that's common with winter storms that's feeding into our east. But let's look over here in this highlighted zone. This is the main part of the blizzard section of this storm. It's on the northwest side. This is where we get our heaviest snow and our highest winds. In fact, let's show you this. We've got a camera that's in Lawrence, and Lawrence is in the middle of that band. And you can see what it looks like. So this is more intense snow than we're currently getting in some of our areas, especially east of Kansas City. And the winds are higher there too. So let me show you that. The visibility, that's really what classifies a blizzard, is reduced visibility along with the snow that lasts for a certain amount of time. You see you're down to zero visibility in Ottawa, quarter mile in Lawrence. You move east, that visibility is better. But all of this is moving our way. So we're just beginning with the blizzard part of this storm in Kansas City now, and we've got several more hours of that to go through at least sunset. 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts in St. Joe, 41-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Lawrence. We're at 32 at the airport. So with this, the concern is not only reduced visibility, but we've still got in some sections of our general area about a ½ inch of ice that's on the trees. And with that wind coming up, we may see the prime power loss time come through this evening. It's one of our thoughts or concerns that we'll see. It's going to stay gusty as we go through the evening, and it'll finally wind down a little bit by tomorrow, but tomorrow's still windy, hence the wind chills. So we want to see what we've had so far, how much more snow is on the way, and time all this out. Let's get to Warren. Warren's got all that information for you. Warren?
Yeah, Luke, let's start with the timeline here. It's the big question. When can we finally shut this storm off and have it pull to the east? And so we're expecting that heaviest snow band and the blizzard conditions, the blowing snow, to be really at its strongest in through the next, probably 4 hours. By the time you get to 6, 7 p.m., the heaviest of the activity starts to shift on the Missouri side, and this lighter color begins to move in, the back band, the back side of the storm. But still, by 8 p.m., probably a couple more light snow showers, some leftover flurries, and all of this continues to pull to the east by 10, 11, midnight. And most of us will be done with measurable snow by the time you wrap your Sunday evening up. So many more hours still on the table of this heavy snow, and then it does become a little bit more light to moderate later on in the evening. No more expected snow to start your Monday morning. Again, that cold is going to be a big issue. Let's just talk through some of our snowfall totals so far today. These numbers have come in within the last hour, so there are likely some updates to come to this here shortly. But St. Joe's been one of our biggest readings at 7.5 inches, 7 inches in Atchison, Lake Wacomas and Liberty also at 7 inches, and Clay Como, Independence at 6 inches, KCK about 5.5, and then it goes down a little bit more into Johnson County and southern KC Mo, but we still are expecting, again, quite a bit more on top of that. So the heaviest band has been mainly along and north of Interstate 70 up the Missouri River to St. Joe, right in line with that forecast. The heaviest ice so far has been just along and south of Interstate 70, again, right in line with that forecast. We had some measurable ice accumulations this morning that came through almost a 3/4 of an inch. So just quite the mess out there with the freezing rain to sleet to snow transition. How much more could we see? And again, we have many more hours of snow on the table. It is not done just yet. So travel will continue to be impacted for the remainder of your Sunday. Likely picking up 3 to 5 more inches of that fine powdery snow out there. But there are signs of pockets of 5 to 7 more inches in select locations. But again, I think a good bet is that 3 to 5 inch range through the rest of this evening, and then things will throttle back later on tonight. Storm total would put those along and north of 70 at 8 to 12 inches, and those south of I-70 into our southern viewing area in that 4 to 8 inch range, which again has been right spot on with what we were expecting. This storm has performed as we expected, and it should move out, and then we will be at least done with the snow for tomorrow morning. But Brad, probably still some cleanup issues, and that bitter cold air is something worth noting.
Yeah, and that snow still coming down outside right now. Warren, thank you. And our weather team will keep you up to date with all the latest details on this storm. The best way to get those up-to-the-minute notifications is by downloading the First Warn 5 weather app. You can find it in the App Store and on Google Play.
I bet you're almost assuming this by now, but yes, indeed. The school closings for tomorrow starting to roll in now. Several of the big local districts have already canceled classes for Monday. They do include, these are just some of the districts here on your screen now: Olathe, Shawnee Mission, Blue Valley, North Kansas City, Liberty, KCK, Park Hill among them now. You can find the full listing, though, of all the school cancellations by opening your KCTV 5 News app. You can also watch the ticker at the bottom of your screen on KCTV 5.
Well, the road started getting bad last night with the ice. We did see a lot of slide-offs and spin-outs. The streets have only gotten worse as the snow has piled up. Check out this scene from just a few hours ago. The First Warn 5 weather tracker spotted several cars stuck in the snow. This is in the Grandview Triangle area. One of the cars had to be pulled out there by a pickup truck. Bridges, on and off ramps have been real problem spots all around the metro. KCTV 5's Gianni Navarro joins us live now. She's riding along in the First Warn 5 weather tracker. Gianni, I know that vehicle is designed to handle the really tough conditions outside, but it looks like even you guys are having to take it slow this afternoon.
Oh yeah, definitely, Brad. I would say we are not traveling more than 20 miles per hour. Now, we are actually currently driving around the Country Club Plaza, and the good news is people have definitely heeded our caution and warnings because it is an absolute ghost town here. But go ahead and take a look at these conditions that we are seeing currently. I mean, this wind is blowing the snow that is currently falling down and the snow that is already on the ground, making it extremely hard to see in front of you. So visibility is definitely deteriorating and reduced to about 1/4 of a mile, I would say, which, guys, is very low. Now, with the blowing snow and the wind, it is definitely hard to see in far distances, but you can just see that wind is just whipping the snow around. I think we're having gusts up to 35 miles per hour right now around the KC metro area. Now, I do want to note that the snow right now is actually very fine and powdery, which is kind of making it easier to pick up and blow around. So you might be able to see kind of some bare spots on the ground and think you're okay, but then a gust will come up and kind of cover that roadway, so making it very difficult to drive on with these uneven surfaces. So just because you see some bare spots on the road does not mean that these conditions are good to be driving in. Like I said, right now we're probably driving about 15 miles per hour around the Country Club Plaza, but you could just see the road is just covered in snow, guys. We did see a few cars here and there, but mostly snow plows on the road trying to make sure that these conditions are safe for us. But again, very dangerous driving conditions at the moment. We are under a blizzard warning warning until at least midnight tonight, you guys. So we'll, of course, be around the KC Metro, driving around, making sure that these road conditions are safe for you. But it's best to stay home, guys, today.
Oh, no doubt about it. Hey, Gianni, before you go, have you seen many cars, abandoned cars, maybe cars that got stuck and then people just had to leave them?
You know what, Brad, so far, not really abandoned cars. I mean, we have seen cars parked on the side, so I'm not sure if they're there just for parking purposes or being abandoned. But at the moment, I can't tell if there's parked cars or abandoned cars, so I can't give you a definitive answer on that. But from what I can see, they look like they're just parked on the side of the road for now.
But for the most part, though, I mean, boy, the streets are really empty of vehicles. So you're right, Gianni. People have heeded the warnings to stay inside and ride this storm out inside.
Thanks, Gianni. We did get a heads up on this storm, so you were able to plan ahead, and thankfully you listened at home.
Yeah, we sure did. Kansas City officials just updated their storm response and plans to clear all of the snow and ice just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we heard from city manager, the mayor as well. KCTV5's Joe Hennessy also was there to hear from the city crews. How's everybody doing this afternoon, Joe?
Hey there. First off, it is incredibly snowy. We are here 16th and Jefferson, right by the FBI building, just to give you some context here downtown. And so these paths are absolutely covered in snow. We were actually parked on this side of the road and got stuck just trying to pull over to this side. So Lucas says that they are working as fast and as safe as they possibly can. 300 plow trucks, 400 drivers trying to clear all of these paths that you are seeing here downtown and across the city. And he went on to say the snow and ice are not new to Kansas City, but the collaboration between city departments is this year, as they have workers from the health department even driving some of those plows today. So he is asking for people's patience as they hit the more than 6,400 lane miles to address. This snow is also affecting tomorrow and Tuesday's trash services, as they are canceled, and people will be allowed 2 extra bags of trash for pickup next week. Now, Public Works Director Michael Shaw says all these streets have been plowed or pre-treated at least once since Friday.
And with the volume of snow, it's going to take a little longer than typical that we do it, but every street will be plowed, every street will be cleared. That's what we do. It's not even an option.
City Manager Brian Platt says that 8 community centers, they are still open as warming sessions, and the KCATA buses that are seen all around the city going around, they are warming stations as well for people out there. And standing right here from some perspective, I probably should have worn a ski mask because I think my mustache is starting to freeze up a little bit. So if you do have to go outside, just be safe. If you do have to drive, don't if you don't have to. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, it is good advice. And why don't you go in and get warm a little bit? We do appreciate you tackling these elements for us to bring you the up-to-date information. Joe, thank you. Question now is, I know you're asking and you're looking out your window, have the plows come by your house yet? Well, there is an easy way to find out in addition to just looking out that front window. Here's a live look at the Kansas City Plow Tracker map. Streets that you see here in green. You know what? We're going to zoom in a little bit here so you can really get an up-close look at the colors here. Green means that the road there has been cleared or treated within the last 4 hours. If you see these other colors, which there are not too many, but yellow, orange, those purple streets you see, they have seen a plow, just not as recently, so more than 4 hours ago. Most of the major cities in the metro have their plow trackers like this running now, so you can also get online, see how you're looking for your part of the metro. You can follow along by finding this story, too, on our KCTV5 News app.
And First One 5 meteorologist Melissa Meter is outside right now watching the snow come down.
Bundled up as well. She joins us live here outside the KCTV5 studios in Fairway, Kansas. Melissa, how you doing out there?
I'm hanging on. You know, the snow has picked up a lot. We've been out here since about 2:15. So the snow has picked up. It's bitterly cold, and I made the mistake of not having the wet-proof gloves on while trying to figure out what kind of snow this is. So I was going to think to myself, you know, can you make some snowballs out of this? Well, it will be hard and dangerous because it is going to be very cold. This is a very light, fluffy snow. If I kind of scoop my hand and pick it up here in my hand, you can see it's just crumbling. This is very, very dry snow, and this is really all that's left. And if we throw it up, it's not going to hold its structure. Another interesting thing that I've kind of discovered while being out here as a meteorologist is that these are in the shape of a needle. When you think about a snowflake, you think of the iconic shape. Well, some of those are coming down, but we're also seeing needle shape of the snow that's coming down, which is indicative of cold conditions, which, as I can tell you, it's really cold out here right now. So I also want to talk a little bit about blowing snow. The dry snow allows it to blow around. It's windy conditions out there. That leads me also to, how can you measure drifting snow? Well, it takes a little bit longer of a process. Now, particularly, I've got my stick right here behind me, the yardstick. I stuck it right in the snow. That was around 8 inches. But the thing is, it's drifting. This is one of the higher snow drifts. You measure around to a couple of different locations, about 3, to be exact, on a flat surface or a surface that is flat or hasn't been plowed yet. So keep that in mind. And then take the average of the 3 measurements that you got from your kind of measurement tool. So your yardstick, your meter stick, or your ruler. So overall, averaged out around 6 inches here at the studio. So it is cold. I want to remind you, it's cold, it's snowy, it's winding. It is dangerous out here. If you do have to get out and shovel, know that we've got a lot longer for this system, because I know a lot of people want to get out and shovel periodically because you don't want to be shoveling, several inches of snow. Keep in mind that there's probably still freezing drizzle, well, ice then, on the ground too. So please be very careful if you have to be out and about walking or anything like that. So there's how you measure some drifting snow. If you do measure some or your regular snow, please send it in to us. Let us know so we can update our snow totals. I'll send it back to you guys in the station where it's a little bit warmer.
Melissa, give us an idea of how long you've been standing there, because I'm astounded at how covered you are already. You haven't been out too long, have you?
No, we've been outside since 2:15. What time is it? Around 2:35, 2:40-ish. So about 15, 20 minutes. And I will say, the snow has picked up quite a lot. The visibility behind us has dropped as we've been out here. So probably getting inside one of those thicker areas of those snow bands. So a little bit of a mixture of small snowflakes, but I think that the snowflakes overall, the size, have gotten a little bit bigger since I've been out here.
Yeah.
And that's what the plow truck drivers are dealing with, is all that new fresh snow coming down, piling up on top of the streets that are already impacted with what's on top of the streets.
Yeah.
All right. Melissa, thank you so much for being out there for us.
Well, the storm causing issues at the airport. KCI's flight board shows almost all departing flights today are canceled. Now, it's not clear if the Chiefs will be able to return to Kansas City on time after today's game in Denver. Yesterday, we know their plane sat on the runway for nearly 4 hours before it was finally able to take off. United Airlines is trying to explain what happened. In a statement, the airline says the team planned to leave well before the storm started, but their charter plane was delayed by a mechanical issue in Los Angeles, where it was coming from. The plane finally departed Kansas City at 5:20 yesterday afternoon.
Many people are asking, why did they wait so long into the storm, the sleet and freezing rain coming down to even try to leave? That makes sense now. It's all coming together.
Bit of a delay. All right, for a closer look at how things are going out at Kansas City International right now, let's go to KCTV 5's Mark Palos.
Yeah, he joins us live now from the terminal. Mark, I see behind you not many travelers. I'm assuming many people heard before they even left home that their flight is canceled. Are you seeing many stranded travelers at all?
Carolyn, actually, just in the last 30 seconds, I saw the very first 2 people walk in the airport in about the whole half hour we've been here. We've been here for 30 minutes. This place is a complete ghost town. Now, we're standing right in front of the TSA security entrance. One thing I want you to see is the gates are completely down here. Another indicator that there is just not going to be a whole lot of action here at the airport today. Now, the big reason why we're going to take a quick step outside to check this out. These blizzard-like conditions are really impacting things here at the airport. Just outside this door, where you can just see how this snow and wind is just completely whipping across the roadway, this entrance driveway here into KCI. There is a whole bunch of stuff going on. Now, our drive out here was not easy on any level. It took us about 50 minutes to take a 25-minute drive. The roadway in was almost completely covered with this snow that you are seeing right now. Now, on the way into the airport, you can tell that the city crews are doing their best to keep this plowed. We saw plow trucks out here salting, plowing, doing everything they can, but with that wind, you are seeing that snow just get back on the roadway. Now, one good thing is there was hardly a car in sight our entire time up here. We probably saw maybe 10, 15 total cars on the road, so people really are heeding those warnings to stay off the roads because they are extremely slick, and with that wind and with that snow, it is dangerous. But here at KCI, it is all quiet on the western front. I was talking to our photographer, Matt Klein, earlier. It's just kind of weird to be in a place where you're used to seeing so many people, really people hustling to get from point A to point B, and right now, no one is doing anything here at KCI. That's really all we got going on here in the north, and we're going to toss it back to you guys in the studio.
Well, glad you're okay, and glad you got up there okay, but it is wild to see that place looking so quiet. Mark, thank you. Snow obviously still coming down out there, and apparently it's not going to stop for quite a while.
Yeah, let's get another check of the forecast from First 15 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris.
Yeah, guys, in fact, we're entering the blizzard now in Kansas City, or we did within the past hour. So that's the beginning of the main snow event for us. We had some this morning, but the main snow and wind is moving through basically as we speak and through the rest of the day. But we want you first just look ahead to tomorrow, because we know it's snowing out there now. We know the roads are bad. I've got a four-wheel drive truck. It was still pretty nasty trying to get to work today. But tomorrow, we may still have some pretty big disruptions. Still a first warn 5 weather day. Roads could still be bad. I think in spots they will be. We could have some power loss, some additional power loss. That might actually go up later today because of the wind. And then the danger is cold. We've been telling you about this. Once this snow moves out, then it's brutal cold comes in, 15 to 20 below wind chills by tomorrow morning. And because of that, this was issued by the National Weather Service about an hour ago. It's a cold weather advisory that's going to go through 11 o'clock on Monday morning. So just know that. Here's a look at the wind chills tomorrow morning. About 15, 16, woof. I mean, just nasty cold because it's still windy. Temperatures are going down, polar air coming in, even in the peak heat of the day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Our average high is pushing near 40. It's going to feel like 1 below. So this is the radar. It's what's going on now. And we've got a healthy pocket of snow that's moving through the metro right now, especially on the south side. And then to our east, still snow. It's snow everywhere. We're done with freezing rain. It's drier air, so less snow moving in toward Clinton and Sedalia. But what I want to point out is this band right here. This is on the back side, the northwest side of the low. This is your most intense snow, even though it's kind of powdery, but it's also where the highest winds are. That's your main blizzard, and that's all going to move due east throughout the rest of the day. So it's just kind of beginning in Kansas City, and we'll have that through the rest of the daylight hours. And you can even see it here with visibility, which that's what blizzards do, is they knock the visibility down because of the wind and blowing snow. 0 in Ottawa, quarter-mile Atchison and Lawrence, and then it improves as you head east. But this will, again, slide east, and all of that's going to drop. So road conditions, visibility is all going to be dropping. Winds will come up. 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts in St. Joe. Lawrence is right there, too. You're about 10 mile an hour less in KC, about 20 mile an hour lower in Odessa, Richmond, Warrensburg. So that wind pocket is going to slide through as we go through the rest of the day, too. And my concern with that is not just the visibility, but we've got ice and thick ice on tree branches still from what we had last night and this morning with the freezing rain. Will that wind cause more power outages? That's the concern that we have there. So what do we have for the rest of the day? What are we looking at with this whole event snow total wise? Let's get to Warren with that. Warren, what do you have?
Yeah, look, many more hours still of heavy snow and those deteriorating conditions. It's hard to believe that it could even intensify more than what we're seeing right now. So the heaviest band is basically making its way through as we speak, and it will be elevated probably through about 5, 6 p.m. So after sunset even, still experiencing very heavy snow. And eventually this heavier pocket of snow and the stronger wind gusts will shift onto the Missouri side, probably after 5, 6, 7 o'clock. The back end of the storm system here where the lightest snow is occurring, that's what will move in throughout the later part of the evening. So still at 8, 9, 10 o'clock, I think we'll have some light snow showers still mixing in, but the bulk of the heavy and measurable snow will likely be tapering off by that point. And then late Sunday evening into early Monday morning, right around midnight, most of us should be winding down with any sort of snow, maybe just a few flurries left over, and that will carry into your morning tomorrow. we are expecting dry conditions as far as any sort of new measurable snow for that Monday morning commute. If you are having to head back to work, or maybe even if your school district does stay in session tomorrow, likely going to be tough to get to a lot of those schools and even work zones just because of the side streets, parking lots. I mean, this is a lot of snow out there. Well, let's talk about some of these numbers. This is just updated. I just pulled some of these numbers from the National Weather Service. So these are official totals so far today. Platte City, 10 inches of snow already. So right by the airport is likely going to get over a foot of snow. And then those numbers do tail off a little bit more into the southern part of the metro. We've seen some spots even down into the 5-6 inch zone in the southern metro. But a lot of us mainly in the 6 to 10 inch zone for the Kansas City metro already. Lake Wacomas, 7 inches, Gladstone, Liberty, Clay Como, just north of the river there, 7 inches, Independence, 6 inches of snow, up to St. Joe, almost 8 inches of snow. So we'll keep updating these because you are accumulating snow really quickly, almost to the tune of 1 to an inch and a half per hour, which is getting up there. So let's look at where this heaviest band has set up, mainly along and north of Interstate 70. That's where our highest totals have been reported, right in line with that forecast. And you can see this orange shade here. You might not be able to read it, but those are 9 to 10 and a half, almost 11 inch readings. Again, so the foot of snow is verifying out there, and we are only going to be adding more. Now let's look at ice. The highest ice totals along and south of Interstate 70. Again, right in line with that forecast. We almost had 3/4 of an inch of ice in certain locations in southern Jackson, Cass County, even into the Kansas side here along state line. So it has been definitely very messy, dicey, and it will continue. Travel is going to continue to be very impacted through the remainder of your Sunday. Even when I was driving into work today, I noticed a lot of you were able to hunker down and stay home. It has been quiet on the roadways, and it will stay that way through the remainder of today because, again, likely picking up another 3 to 5 inches of this fine powdery snow out there on the lower end. Some pockets of 5 to 7 more inches on the table in select locations. Again, we think more on that 3 to 5 inch range, but that would give you some significant numbers far to the south in the 4 to 8 inch zone, but 8 to 12 inches likely for the metro and north of Interstate 70, where we've seen some of those highest numbers. So just all a reminder, that is still expected through the remainder of today. Finally, by tomorrow morning, we'll at least be done with that snow. But Carolyn, I think it is still going to be a mess trying to get out and about tomorrow morning.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, Warren. Thank you. And you and I came in just before the noon hour today. You coming here to the station from south.
Yep.
I came from the north. We got two perspectives here. The roads were bad.
Go first.
They were rough.
Yeah, they're not
for
good.
sure. The one helpful thing was I was about the only car on the road at the time. So that's helpful. Makes you feel a little better if you do have to fishtail or something for a while. But where I got into trouble is these drifts, which have only just begun at this point, or where snow plows maybe have come to an intersection and left a mound of snow, and you got to, barrel through that somehow.
I saw 3 cars stranded with people in their cars, on their phones, people coming to help them. There was a police officer coming to help someone in Overland Park who was, same thing, high-centered in an intersection. So the plow drivers are doing a great job
for sure
of keeping the streets as clear as they can. But the problem areas I saw were the intersections where the plows they couldn't get the entire intersection. And if you're trying to turn in an intersection, that's where some of the cars, not SUVs, but some of the lower sitting sedans and cars were getting high centered in that snow. And then they were just spinning their wheels. And if I can tell you anything, if you do have to get out, make sure you've got kitty litter, sand, or gravel in the back of your car, because if you do slide off the road, you're going to need something to help get you some traction, because underneath that snow, as we know, with Luke and everyone telling us about what has happened here, it's that ice underneath that snow that is making it so difficult.
That's what we saw come down yesterday, and now the snow really begins. For that reason, no travel is advised across the Kansas City metro still today for your Sunday. And there is obviously good reason for that.
As we've mentioned, plow truck drivers working hard to clear the streets, but with all this snow, still very difficult to get around. KCTV 5's Gianni Navarro is riding along in the First Warn weather tracker. So Gianni, tell us where you are now.
Yeah, Brad and Carolyn, sorry if you can't see me. The system is acting a little wonky, so it doesn't want you to show me right now. So I'm giving you a picture of the street. We are traveling through Westport at the moment, and you can just see right now we have some open spots on the roadway, but of course that doesn't mean it's not slick. We are in a Chevy vehicle, a Suburban, so we are definitely equipped and have the vehicle to be traveling through this right now. But you can just take a look at what we're seeing at the moment. I mean, this snow is just whipping around. These wind gusts of up to 35 miles per hour are just picking up the snow that has already fallen down, the snow that is coming down, and just making visibility super hard at the moment. Now, we were traveling through the Country Club Plaza, and we've mentioned it, the snow plows are hard at work trying to keep up with this snowfall, but we even saw this huge pile of snow that was in the middle of Nichols Road. Definitely not travelable. You cannot travel down that road. We were also traveling towards Westport, and we did see someone get stuck trying to make a turn on Mill Creek Parkway towards Westport, and we did see some good Samaritans get out of the car. They were able to help the man drive through the snow. Again, Brad, like you mentioned, he was in sort of a sedan type vehicle, so it was hard for him to kind of make that turn with this snow accumulating on the ground. But you guys, you could just see a snowplow kind of went through this area, making the road a little bit clearer. But of course, you can see that snow just whipping around at the moment, guys. Definitely not a great travel situation here.
And for the most part, it looks like most people, again, have removed their cars. They're not parked along the side of the road. The city had asked people to get off the streets, and Gianni, for the most part, it looks like people are doing that.
Yes, definitely. I will mention that towards the Country Club Plaza, we actually did see quite a few cars still parked around that area, which was surprising, but they definitely are snowed in. I mean, they're not going to be getting anywhere today, Brad, or even tomorrow, because we got to realize that the temperatures are so cold that this snow is sticking around. So there's going to be a lot of work for them to kind of dig their car out of the snow that's just kind of piling around their vehicles.
Hey, you're right, Gianni. I was out at Snow Command yesterday, and they said once we get through tonight, their big concern is that the temperatures are going to drop so low that this ice and snow, it doesn't matter how much you pre-treat it. If the temperatures are as cold as they're expected to get, it's not going to melt. And so there's going to be day after day where there's nothing that crews can do other than move this snow around, because at least for the next few days, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Gianni, thank you for your excellent reporting out there this afternoon. You guys be safe. And she called it. She said there's big mounds everywhere. Yeah. It's got to go somewhere.
Right.
The plows have to end somewhere, right? And it's going to pile up for a while, like you said, until the temperatures get above freezing, at least for a little while. At this point, the salt won't melt a thing. It's too cold for that. And it's not just regular cars struggling out on those roads. Some plows, even salt trucks have had a hard time getting the job done in some spots. I want to show you some video here from one of our viewers, Mark McVeigh. Mark sent this into us from Overland Park. That footage showing here a truck fighting a literal uphill battle just before midnight last night. That's when this happened. See? You can hear it. Try to get up and then just kind of slide back down. Watch here. Yeah, eventually it does make it past the house, but not before dumping a healthy coating of salt in that one spot, just trying to make its way.
Yeah, it just goes to show you everyone's struggling right now. KCTV 5's Betsy Webster has her heavy-duty winter gear on. She joins us now live along Shawnee Mission Parkway. And Betsy, it just looks miserable outside. There's no way to sugarcoat it.
Are you in there, Betsy?
Yeah, hi guys. I just want to clarify where I am. We're at Johnson Drive and I-35, and I want to show you that conditions have really deteriorated over the past hour. If you take it, and it's hard to even see up there, that's I-35 North. I mean, there's so much snow coming down that it's hard to see a distance, but you see that white vehicle with its flashers on. It's been up there for about 15 minutes now. Tried to go forward with maybe a foot forward and is still off to the side of the road. And we are at another trouble spot besides that, down here at the exit ramp. If you're getting off of 35 onto Johnson Drive, Several people who've tried to turn, I believe, yes, turn west onto Johnson Drive have gotten stuck. We saw someone at 2:45. We also saw someone at 2 o'clock. We have some video to show you of that. I shot on my phone. They were spinning, trying to get out, and there were some young people, probably late teens, early 20s, who got out. Each of them had a shovel, 3 of them with shovels, trying to dig them out and then push them out. Now, they said that, you know, they pulled over and they saw multiple people driving by, and that's when they felt like they needed to step in.
Nah, we're actually on our way to help our pop shovel his driveway. We caught one car, got ready to get back in the car, another car got stuck. So.
Yeah, they were on their way to help their grandfather to shovel his driveway. And when they hopped back in the car, they said, well, let's go see if there's someone else we can help. They will get to their grandpa's driveway, but he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So they were ready to help other people. I will say probably best that they get back home soon, because it really is. It's just hit or miss. I mean, we're seeing some people driving, going by just fine, and then seeing other people get stuck. That's the situation out here in Kansas. Oh, and I do want to point out, before I pitch back to you guys, I did talk to a Marion police officer and checked with KDOT's website. And the main situation we're seeing right now is not wrecks, but stranded vehicles. And there are a number of stranded vehicles on I-35 as well as on 69 between 95th and 103rd. And I'm sure there are numerous stranded vehicles on these side roads. Back to you guys.
And Betsy, just to dovetail off of what you said earlier today, the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department or Public Works said that there had only been about 60 crashes so far, but about 55 fall downs. Oh. So, you know, it's slick outside, as you well know. Betsy, is it hard to walk around where you are?
You know, I've gotten lucky, or maybe you could say unlucky. I have been walking in places where there is just a crap ton of snow. I mean, look at that. You see, this is what the wind is doing, the drifts. Do you see that pointy part there? Yeah. So I've been stepping in the deep stuff. I have the boots and the snow pants, so I've been able to stay dry. But that deep snow has helped give me traction. I'm sure that at some point, once things get cleared and we start to see more vehicles, it's going to get, as it packs down, it's going to get super slippery.
Yeah, snowpack is coming. Boy, dangerous conditions out there. Betsy, we sure appreciate your reporting out there this afternoon to keep us on top of it. Nathan Brennan also with us today. He's also out in the elements. He was in the Northland just a bit earlier to give us a look at the conditions north of the river.
Well, it looks just as cold as it feels in downtown Parkville. In fact, my KCTV 5 weather app shows me that the feel-like temperature near 0 degrees. Pair that with a few inches of snow, and you have what our meteorologists call a historic storm. We made our way through Parkville this morning, and we were one of very few drivers. Even some of the busiest intersections were empty, besides about a half-dozen plow trucks. Those few who did take on the elements either spun out or had to take pit stops and brush off their windshields. Now, you're probably thinking winter storms are nothing new for people who live in and around the Kansas City metro, but one of this size doesn't come around too often.
I've lived here pretty much all my life, off and on, but no, I don't remember anything like this in a minute.
All my properties have gone through at least 2 rounds of plowing already, just trying to keep up with keeping the roadways open and drive lanes open. So it's accumulating crazy fast. I've been doing snow removal for 15 years, and this is the heaviest storm I've seen.
Now, it might be Sunday, but a lot of these businesses, actually all of these businesses on Main Street in downtown Parkville are closed. And we've actually seen a couple of these signs that say on the front door, closed because of weather. You can find the latest up-to-date forecast on the KCTV 5 weather app. In Parkville, Nathan Brennan, KCTV 5 News.
And if you head south, it's the same story. Snow as far as you can see. KCTV 5's Chandra Watkins was in Mission today to give us a closer look.
We've been across Johnson County since this winter storm started this morning. We first made our way to Olathe, where public works crews were hard at work trying to keep the roads clear. We watched as snowplows came in and out nonstop all morning. I'm told over 100 personnel came to work this weekend. But as the storm continued making its way through our area, things got a little dicey. We headed up I-35 north, where not too many people were out on the roads, and ended in Mission, where a few people were out braving the elements.
Our dog has a bladder infection, and she needs food she has medicine that has to be taken with food. We're out of food, so I gotta walk to Target and get food. It doesn't seem terrible. I mean, the ice has been really bad, but the snow so far seems manageable.
I need a waffle, and the streets aren't that bad because there's nobody on them. There's nothing to hit. If you just go slow, you'll be fine because there's nobody dumb enough to be out on the road but me. You know, I was just thinking, the ice storm wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. And then it's powder, so it's not sticking to the trees.
And while, of course, it was cold and windy, those we spoke to say that they were happy that there was more snow than ice this time round. Reporting in Mission, Chandler Watkins, KCTV 5 News.
Maybe the quote of the storm. I needed a waffle. We also have an update for you now from Overland Park.
KCTV 5's Janae Hancock joins us now live in studio. Janae, tell us about some cleanup efforts in Overland Park.
Yeah, I spoke to them not too long ago. The city of Overland Park is really focusing on thoroughfares right now. That means the main streets that run through your neighborhood, specifically for emergency crews to utilize because they still don't want you out on the roads. Meg Ralph, Strategic Communications Director for the city, tells me this first snowstorm of the year is actually unique. The city has about 170 new drivers treating the roads right now. And Ralph says even when the snow stops, she wants residents to just be patient, as it typically takes between 24 to 48 hours for crews to hit every city street.
So we just ask for patience from the residents as they wake up Monday morning. We hope that your street is plowed, but it may not be. So if you can stay home on Monday, that's great. I know the schools just called out, so that may be helpful.
And speaking of schools closing out, we do have a list of all of the closings right now on our KCTV 5 News app, or you can watch the ticker right there at the bottom of your screen. But Carolyn, it looks like kids are going to have another day of winter break tomorrow, so I know they're happy about that.
Sounds almost guaranteed for all schools at this point. You're right, Janae, thank you. Wanted to take a closer look for you now at how the Plow crews are doing. They're in Overland Park. Wanted to take a live look here at their tracker map. They also have a lot of ground to cover as well. We know the streets that you see here in bright green have been plowed within the last 3 hours, so they're making good headway there. The shades in darker green, though, have been a bit longer than that. Most of the major cities in the metro do have these plow trackers running now online. It's kind of interesting to watch it, keep track of your neighborhood. You can follow along by finding this story on your KCTV 5 News app. And before we go and leave you here momentarily for the afternoon, wanted to get one last good look at that radar.
Okay, guys. Well, first I want to say thank you for trusting us with your weather coverage. We did our dead level best to try to get you ready for this. We started to tell you about it on Monday, and now here we are kind of in the middle of this thing and already wondering how's it stack up. So I just slapped this together. We looked at the stats. Now, officially, our records are kept at KCI, all right? So you've got to pick a spot. Some of you saw more, some of you saw less, but officially we have to pick a spot, and it's the airport. We don't have an official report yet, but near the airport, we just got a report of 10 inches of snow. That would be the most snow that we've had since 1993. That's 32 years. It just beats 2013 at 9.9, and it's still snowing, so we beat 2013. If we get over a foot, which we well may, this will be the most snow that we have had in 63 years, since 1962. And if you look at one-day snows, which this is a one-day snow, you have to go all the way back to the early 1900s to find a snowstorm that produced this much in a single day. But we want you thinking about tomorrow, too, because tomorrow we're back to life. You know, we got a lot of school cancellations. We're already seeing disruptions. Some of you are trying to get back to work. You know, things are grinding again on Monday, but it's still a first warn weather day because roads are still going to be a problem, especially in spots. We may have power loss. That power loss concern is still there as the blizzard wind part of this storm system is just starting for us. And on top of that, dangerous cold, 15 to 20 degree below zero wind chills. In fact, we just had this issued. This was about an hour and a half ago now with a cold weather advisory all across the area. Kansas City's included, all these aqua shaded counties. That's going to go through 11 o'clock on Monday morning. Here's the wind chills. This is how it's going to feel tomorrow morning. 16 below as you start the day, and even in the afternoon, it feels below zero. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. degrees at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, below zero. There's our radar. We've got a good burst of snow that's passing through right now. It is lighter to our east, but that little pocket going to Richmond to KC, and then this whole back band, all right? This zone right here is the blizzard. This is where the snow is heaviest, even though it's kind of fine. It's the heaviest part of the snow, and it's where the winds are highest too. And this whole thing in that kidney bean shape on the backside is sliding eastward, dropping visibility. You can see this is where the blizzard conditions are. 0 in Ottawa, quarter mile in Lawrence and Atchison. It does get better currently as you slide eastward, but again, the system's moving east, so visibility is going to drop, winds are going to pick up. 36-mile-per-hour wind gust at KCI right now, 40 in Atchison. Watch that pocket of high winds slide east with this system. So again, whiteout conditions at times, and my other thought is with the ice that's on the tree branches from what we had last night and this morning, now you're going to kick in a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust on top of that. What's that going to do? Is it going to break branches? Are we going to have more power loss? That's something that we're considering and just looking ahead to. So we want you thinking about Monday. But in the meantime, what do we have for the rest of the day? When's all this wrap up? Let's get to Warren with the timing on that. Warren, what do you have?
Actually, I have a couple of my neighbors texting me that it's getting worse out there right now. So we are actually in a really heavy band of snow, and those wind gusts are creating really reduced visibilities. So this is the main story for many more hours. We're talking likely through 5, 6, 7 p.m. this evening with the worst conditions. Those heavier snow bands will continue to shift to the east, though, in that time frame. So I think this lighter stuff on the very tail end of the storm will be what pushes in closer to 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then likely closer to actual, midnight, the end of today and into early tomorrow. Most of our measurable snow is done. We might have a few flurries dancing around still, but the heaviest of the activity for about 3, 4 more hours, then still some light to moderate stuff through about 8, 9 o'clock, and then again later this evening things will wind down a little bit. So your actual morning tomorrow, if you do have to go to work for some reason, or if there are any districts left that are still having school, we won't have any more measurable snow out there, but windy conditions and bitter cold definitely on the table. Let's take a look at some of our latest snowfall totals that we've measured so far today. Platte City still seems to be the highest in the KCTV viewing area, right up by the airport at 10 inches. We are in, again, a very heavy band right now. All of these numbers are probably needing to be updated even right now, as we speak. So these will continue to tick up here for many more hours today. KCK at 8 inches. We actually had a new update in Atchison at 9 inches of snow, and a lot of the 6 to 8 inch range across Kansas City, and that lines up very well with our forecast. So along I-70 and points to the north up to the Missouri River and into northeastern Kansas, there's a band there of 9 inches to maybe up to 11 already. Again, that is already. That we still have many more hours. And the ice totals from this morning, mainly I-70 and south, we did have up to 3/4 of an inch in select locations, kind of right on that Kansas-Missouri state line there. So as far as any sort of additional snowfall goes, this is a fine powdery snow. It stacks fairly well, but it is also easy to blow around. So it's going to be hard to really measure how much you have out there. But pockets of 5 to 7 inches, not out of the question. Likely in the 3 to 5 inch range for most of us, though, again, additionally to what you already have out there. And just one more thing Melissa did mention earlier, and this is a nice tidbit. When you have the drifting snow like we do, the blowing snow, take a couple different measurements and make sure it's not on the grass, a hard surface, your driveway, a table outside, things like that. Take 3 measurements and then average them together. And that's usually a good idea of how much has fallen in your area. So while the measurable snow is done later this evening, closer to when we're probably heading to bed, I still think a mess for cleanup tonight and then through your morning tomorrow. Brad.
All right, Warren, thank you. And you know what has struck me about this storm? You first started tracking this, started warning people on Monday. And what that has allowed everyone to do is to prepare. And so we haven't seen a lot of people out driving on the streets. People have known this is coming. They're preparing. They're getting ready for it. And then all the municipalities all around the metro have all done a really good job of preparing. But it doesn't start unless you're warned a ways out. And
yeah,
you
almost
did that
a
on
week
Monday.
ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole goal. With First Warn, we are going to show you if it's a high impact thing like this, even if it's low odds, we want you to know this is a possibility. This might happen. And then we'll track it as it goes, and we'll show you throughout the event. What I never want to do is wait until it's the very last minute. And, oh, yeah, now we actually think this is going to happen. I don't want you to do that, because then you don't have time to prepare. And it's not about trying to hype anything up. It's about being totally transparent so that you can get ready early and know, what if you got a flight? You know, what if you've got to travel for work? I would want to know as early as I possibly could that there's a chance that this could happen. And we're going to do that for you every time. This storm from Monday looked like it was coming. And we did our best to try to get you ready for it. And throughout the week, all the updates came in, and I got to say, it's played out about like we thought. Do you guys feel like you were prepared? Like this is?
It smacked us about the way you said it was going to.
Totally.
You know, the ice first, and
Right
then here
on,
would come
yesterday.
the snow, and you know, now I'm worried about the blowing snow. The wind today.
And just looking at the stats, I just put the stats together. It looks like we're going to crack a foot at the airport. If we do that, this is the most snow since the 60s, over 60 years. And we had the ice before. Don't forget that. So bad storm system. We're going to remember this.
And to be clear, this is going to be snow from here on out now. We don't have another layer of ice on top of this coming,
we're
right?
done with the ice. This is just snow. This is blizzard now through about sunset. So this is the main blizzard part of the storm. And then by about sunset, it's going to start tapering off, and we'll be getting better.
Okay.
Finally. Get this thing out of here, buddy.
And then the Arctic air
And then
sets
the cold
in.
begins. Exactly.
Yeah, get ready for Monday.
Hey, thank you, Luke.
Yeah.
And our entire weather team, all of our reporters who have been outside in this, they're now able to come inside and get warm. We hope you are enjoying, not enjoying this storm, but braving this storm inside, and you're warm. We do want to thank you for joining us. We're going to continue to stay on top of the storm for you as new information comes in.
Yeah, for now, we'll get you back to your regular scheduled programming. We'll let you get ready for the Chiefs football game. Join us on KCTV5.com for continuous updates, though, and we will see you at halftime of that Chiefs game for another live update.